To a beautiful morning in Montgomery, Alabama. We are here live on the campus of Auburn Montgomery for the Alabama High School Athletic Association Bracket Reveal Show. I'm so lucky to be joined this morning by Coach Alvin Briggs, Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. He's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on here in the meeting on campus and what we can expect as we go forward through these playoffs. Welcome, Coach Briggs.
Hey, it's a great morning to be with you this morning. It's exciting. As we were talking off camera, it's playoff seasons, and
it is.
Here we are about to set the brackets with the Central Board and the teams here this morning.
Well, tell us, how many teams are in the playoffs, and then am I correct in that every single coach is here this morning for a meeting? Yeah,
there will be a representative from each school via coach or principal or designee. And we right at 216 teams that'll be here this morning.
Wow. And some of them played last night not knowing if they would be here at the meeting this morning, right?
Yeah, we had some to go down to the last minute last night with some tiebreakers, and luckily it all cleared up on the field. We hadn't do any coin tosses, and so we're excited about that.
Well, good. So I know there's probably some really excited coaches in the next room, maybe some tired coaches from celebrating last night and then making an early drive this morning. But what is it that you will tell them in this meeting? What's the meeting about?
Well, we're just going to talk about managing the game, managing the contest. This is for some of them, this would be the last game. For some of them, they'll move on to the next week. It's you keep playing. If you win, if you don't, it ends your season. And so we talk about the home management and what they need to do and how the games are going to go. There will be no ties. Every game has to be settled on the field, wherever how long it goes. We'll go by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and FHS tiebreaker rules. I mean, just those things that they would normally do during the season, just going to be heightened a little bit because the emotions are a little different now. Because it's do or die. If you win, you keep moving on, and just some elements that we need to make sure to ensure that we cover. And there's some things that's going on around the country that we don't like in athletics. We want to make sure that great sportsmanship is continued and those things. So those are the things we'll go over.
Yeah, I understand. We've got a great legacy of sportsmanship here in the state of Alabama, and I know we all hope that continues. One thing that I understand takes place too is that the coaches all have to agree on the location and time of each game. Is that correct?
Yes. Each bracket, each game has a host. And the host will say, the time and the date, which is pretty much set. It's Friday night, 7 o'clock, unless some other issues they're sharing the stadium. There's a few things. And they'll decide on the number of officials. If they disagree, there's a default set there that they adhere to. And then they'll talk about film exchange, and they'll get some other information from where they need to park the buses, where the band need to park, the cheerleaders, all those things, and just some logistics, because there's somebody new coming to their stadium that normally hadn't been come. It's not their regional opponent, so it's somebody new.
Right. Well, there's so much that goes into these state playoffs that, it's hard to even imagine, but we're so thankful that you and your staff at the association manages all this, keeps it all organized, keeps it all online, and that's really what this meeting is the start of today, right?
There's no doubt. Our staff does a great job. Ron Ingram, Jeff Seegers, who's over football, really start the first week of the season, because we have some region games that start. We start charting it in and knowing those things and start preparing for the playoff. This is a year-long process. I mean, it's almost like, I don't want to fast forward too far, but as soon as the season's over with, Jeff and Ron to start over, getting ready for, things again. So they do a very great job of managing it. We were at the office last night, getting everything together, double checking, triple checking, checking it again, making sure, just getting everything lined up. And of course, we kind of posted the brackets last night, and you know if you've made a mistake because somebody's going to call you, because they're waiting and watching. So you have those things you look up, you want to make sure they're right. So those are the things that staff has done a great job with.
Well, I don't know when you guys sleep, but I don't think there's going to be much sleep for the next several weeks. So tell us, going forward, looking towards the Super 7, this is the beginning. It'll culminate with the Super 7 in Jordan-Hare Stadium. That's November 30th through December 2nd. So tell us kind of What are we leading up to here?
Well, this is the first in-person meeting, and we did some things and had some coaches talk to us. So the next 2 meetings will be virtual, and but also the team's cut in half. So, after this week, everything cut in half. The next 2 meetings will be virtual, and then the semifinals for 7A and the quarterfinals for everybody else 1 through 6 will have a meeting, and then the next week before we have the state championship, the true after semifinals, we'll have a meeting to discuss, because we'll start discussing then the possibility, if you go make it, what we need to go into the Auburn Super 7, because there's a lot of things we need right away, and some things we'll need to get ready for the communities, and the communities want to know who's coming, what they're doing. Just welcome everybody. It is not just an event.
It's not just an event. As a matter of fact, it's a highlight of a lot of these young kids' lives to make it that far. So it's so important, and all this has to be so structured and so monitored so that everything's fair, all the rules are followed, and we get, the right outcomes in these situations.
We're going to have someone from Auburn here today to talk about, the future of, Super 7 coming to Auburn. We have our event group here that kind of help manage this for us to do some things. We'll start talking about Super 7, but we won't be Super 7 heavy, so there'll be things that'll be going on, and so we're getting ready for that culmination, but we're 5 weeks away. This is just the first week, and it's exciting, and all those teams and communities that are in there are excited, and they're just fired up and ready to go.
Well, we cannot thank you enough for your leadership, for the hard work of your staff. It's going to be so exciting to watch this unfold over the next several weeks. We will be joining you live there in the meeting in just a little while. We're going to have other interviews with coaches that are involved, but we just really appreciate everything you do.
Well, I really appreciate you, and you and I have a special with your grandfather being former executive director, and I remember going to a meeting with he was instruction when it was downtown, so hey, that's a long time there.
That's right. It's a strong legacy.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this at the AHSAA Playoff Reveal Show.
Great. You are a superstar.
I don't know.
Retirement planning, investment planning, education planning, ad valorem, blah, 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 blah. Financial planners love to show their version of a perfect retirement, but what about your perfect retirement? At AmFirst Financial, we'll get to know you first, so we can make a plan for the person you'll be years from now, and future you will be glad we planned ahead. So call AmFirst Financial today. You'll thank you later.
Silicaga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Silicaga.
I need the King Boys.
Don't call 2 clowns in a tow truck when you're dreaming of them King Boys.
Get more this fall in Silicaga with the power of 3. Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan. The time to buy is now, with more value and selection.
Long before we became a new car dealer, we were a used car dealer, and we know used cars better than anyone. Sarah has hard-to-find inventory arriving daily from around the country, with over 1,200 pre-owned cars and trucks to choose from.
Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan of Silicaga, serving Alabama since 1981.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
It's almost that time of year again. Well, we already know the outcome. Roll Tide.
No, not that game. I'm talking about scoring the Game of the Week special at Sunny King Ford. Right now, you can save $30 on any set of tires at the Quick Lane at Sunny King Ford. Just mention the Game of the Week special.
Only at Sunny King Ford. That's right, Sunny King Ford on the sunny side of the street, Anniston, Oxford. Now that's a catch.
Everybody to the AHSAA Playoff Reveal Show. We are live here in Montgomery on the campus of AUM, and I'm so happy to be joined right now with Jack Williams from Alabama Public Television. There was a big announcement last week. An APT will actually be broadcasting the Super 7 games for the first time in history. Welcome, Jack, to the show.
Thanks, Susan. It's an honor to be here. We're very excited to be partnering with the High School Athletic Association on this venture.
Well, and what's really exciting about this is going to make it very easy for people all over the state to tune in to the Super 7 games.
That's right. Our over-the-air, if you have no cable, no satellite, just a TV antenna, we cover 97% of the state. We're really excited about taking this statewide for the very first time. And we think it's going to be a tremendous opportunity to highlight smaller communities that don't get the attention that some of the larger schools and larger municipalities get. We're very excited.
Well, and you know, the Super 7 state championship games will take place in Jordan-Hare Stadium, but not everybody can travel that far. Some of these schools are very far away, so I think it's wonderful that we're making it so accessible to everyone around the state.
You know, we're opening doors for grandparents, not just grandparents of athletes, grandparents of band members, aunts and uncles that live in the four corners of the state. You're right. You know, we rotate between Auburn, Tuscaloosa, and Birmingham, but it's a long drive. Wherever it is, it's a long drive for somebody somewhere, and we're creating new opportunities for folks and highlighting. This is what APT is about. We're highlighting the areas that don't always get the attention they deserve. We're so excited.
That is wonderful. It seems like a great partnership. I've been told that other states do this model. Is that correct?
That's correct. Last year I went over and watched the Georgia games. They do a 3-day event also. I spent a day on the field, a day in the truck, and a day in the studio, just seeing how they do things. I've spoken to my counterpart in Arkansas, Louisiana, and Nebraska also do this. And we're just tremendously excited to be partnering not just with the High School Athletic Association, but with other underwriters who are helping underwrite this, the Secretary of State's office, ALDOT, DHR, Google, and we're very Children's Hospital, and we're just tremendously excited about these partners and some others that will be announced and will be joining us in the next month.
Well, that just sounds like it's a win-win for everybody across the state, and really that's what high school athletics are about in Alabama. So we thank you for this new partnership. We're excited about it, and we will see you in several weeks.
Susan, looking forward to seeing you in Jordan-Hare on November 30th.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
And we'll be right back right after this on the AHSAA Playoff Reveal Show.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
It's almost that time of year again. Well, we already know the outcome. Roll Tide.
No, not that game. I'm talking about scoring the Game of the Week special at Sunny King Ford. Right now, you can save $30 on any set of tires at the Quick Lane at Sunny King Ford. Just mention the Game of the Week special.
Only at Sunny King Ford. That's right, Sunny King Ford on the sunny side of the street, Anniston, Oxford. Now that's a catch.
Sylacauga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert. Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Sylacauga.
Uncle Marcus, will you tell us a story about King Boys again?
Sure. Well, it all started back in 2008.
2008?
We didn't have all the fancy toy equipment we do now, but we did have a service and a desire to help our customers. You see, kids, you must train your mind and your body to be able to help the people you call customer. When they call on us, it's showtime. Understand me. King Boys' mission is to help when people are in need. So what's our motto, children?
King Boys forever!
Get more this fall in Sylacauga with the power of 3. Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan. The time to buy is now, with more value and selection.
Long before we became a new car dealer, we were a used car dealer, and we know used cars better than anyone. Sarah has hard-to-find inventory arriving daily from around the country, with over 1,200 pre-owned cars and trucks to choose from.
Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan of Sylacauga, serving Alabama since 1981.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
And I'm joined now by Coach Greg Peterson of Hueytown High School. Welcome.
Welcome, Susan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, you are one of these coaches we keep talking about that's here for the meeting this morning. You are in the playoffs, and you have a big game coming up this Friday against Benjamin Russell. Tell us, what are you thinking about this game?
Well, I haven't had a whole lot of time to spend, studying them. Watched them a little bit yesterday because we played on Thursday night at Gardendale. But I know Coach Grider's done a real good job since taking over that program, and expect to have a real tough first-round game against those guys.
Yeah, so this is your 7th year as head coach at Hueytown, is that right?
It's my 4th year as head coach, but I've been there 7 total.
Okay, good.
Yep.
And, I read an article about you, and it was fascinating how you are obviously a very successful football coach, but that's not your only priority there. So tell us a little bit about some of your other goals and priorities as a coach at Hueytown.
Well, we're all competitors, and, winning on the field is paramount, but the way we talk about it as a staff, that's our platform, and without winning games, coaches don't keep their jobs. So, that you have to intermingle that, but, just trying to develop the whole man. As we put them out into society, we want to have good fathers and sons and husbands and everything else as we try to mentor these young men. But, using football as that platform is just what we get to do, and all of us coaches are competitive, so the winning aspect is really good.
Right. That all plays together. So, Coach Patterson, tell us about the Building Men program.
Yeah, that's something, just reading some books. I don't really remember where I kind of robbed the idea from, but we ask all the faculty and staff in our building, including custodians, lunchroom ladies, teachers, everybody, to adopt one of our players, and just came up with Building Men, with the men standing for meeting essential needs. Kind of always go back to Maslow's, theory of hierarchy. If they don't have food, place to sleep, all of this stuff, they're not going to care about football, much less math or English or anything else. But just trying to build some connections with kids and faculty and staff members that didn't have anything to do with athletics. So I got all of the people that adopted a T-shirt with their player's number on the back of it, and they decorated doors, or one of our custodians even decorated her cart that she pushes around the school with her kid's name and number and all on it. And it was just a way to kind of bridge a gap and build some relationships.
Well, and I'm sure that's been successful. You plan to continue that program for many years, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is our 2nd year to do it this year. And it's been a really good thing to do, to kind of just get kids to open up to people. So, you know, it's hard to do sometimes, especially to talk about the rough stuff in their life that they struggle with.
Sure. Well, let's pivot back to football for just a minute. Tell us what is special about this team this year.
Well, we had a lot of adversity out of the gate, you know, after playing for a state championship last year for the first time in school history. All of us have had a lot to learn how to handle that success, and moved into this year and started 1-3. And a lot of people had questioned us, but our kids have done a really, really good job of just staying bought into what we've been asking them to do, and hard work pays off. And we've gotten a little better each week, as the cliche goes, and I think we're trending in the right direction at the right time for the playoffs. But it's just their perseverance that they've overcome quite a few things this season to be where we are now.
Well, that is awesome. Well, we really hope that we will get to see you in several weeks at Jordan-Hare Stadium. But first things first, I know you've got Benjamin Russell this Friday night. It'll be the game of the week. Yep. People can watch that on WOTM and also on NFHS. So good luck this Friday night, and we hope to see you in Jordan-Hare.
Thank you very much. I appreciate what y'all do for high school football.
Absolutely. Well, it's because of people like you that we can do it. Thank you.
Thanks.
And we'll be right back after this on the AHSAA Playoff Reveal Show.
Retirement planning, investment planning, education planning, ad valorem, blah, 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 blah. Financial planners love to show their version of a perfect retirement, but what about your perfect retirement? At AM First Financial, we'll get to know you first, so we can make a plan for the person you'll be years from now, and future you will be glad we planned ahead. So call AM First Financial today. You'll thank you later.
Silicaga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Sylacauga.
I need the King Boys.
Don't call two clowns in a tow truck when you're dreaming of them King Boys.
Get more this fall in Sylacauga with the power of 3. Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan. The time to buy is now, with more value and selection.
Long before we became a new car dealer, we were a used car dealer, and we know used cars better than anyone. Sarah has hard-to-find inventory arriving daily from around the country, with over 1,200 pre-owned cars and trucks to choose from.
Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan of Sylacauga, serving Alabama since 1981.
And we're back now live in Montgomery at the AHSAA playoff meeting. And we are joined now with Coach Smitty Greider from Benjamin Russell High School. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Well, you have a big game obviously coming up this Friday, and we'll get there in a minute. But first things first, backing up, you've obviously had a very successful season. This is your first year at Benjamin Russell, right?
Yes, it is. It's been a great year for us.
Well, obviously you are a tried and true coach. If, you know, you could come in as a first year coach and be so successful. But not only that, I read a quote where you talked about at Benjamin Russell before you, they had 4 Hall of Fame coaches, and so there were some big shoes to fill there. How did that feel coming in?
Well, it's not intimidating, but there's a lot of respect there. You know, I know all 4 of those guys, and they're good friends of mine actually. So it's a lot to live up to. But I take pride in doing that, and it's been exciting to have their support. I've talked to all of them, and they're very supportive of what we're doing, and just, you know, want to continue the legacy that they built at Benjamin Russell. Well, and it is quite a legacy. And I read another quote from you where you talked about how you know, Benjamin Russell already had established infrastructure and traditions and a rich history of football success. And in the past, you were sort of used to building programs. So talk about how this transition was different than other schools that you've been at. Well, there are a lot of resources that were available to help us get the thing rolling. You know, it didn't take long to see
how much support was there in the community, how hungry they were to bring the tradition back at Benjamin Russell to be successful. They were used to winning, and so having that to lean on was a big asset, and it really is a major part of the reason that we've had such success this first year.
Good. Well, back to you as a coach. Obviously, you're pretty good at what you do because you have several players who are now playing in the NFL. Tell us who that is.
Well, right now I think the only one that's currently on a roster is Cam Taylor-Britt. He played for me at Park Crossing High School. I actually played quarterback for us and went to Nebraska as a DB, and now he's playing corner for the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's exciting. We still have several that are playing in college right now. I do have a player in the Canadian League. I'm going blank here.
People can Google it.
Jawan Taylor.
Okay.
He played at Florida. He was a safety for us at Park Crossing. And Malik Cunningham's a quarterback at Louisville, still playing. We've got them all over the South, and they actually have one at Washington playing right now. And so it's exciting to see those guys go on and have success.
Great. Well, and obviously you've got a really good team this year. Hopefully some of those will move on to higher levels of football, right?
Hopefully, that's right. We've got several really good players.
Good. Well, not to look too far ahead, let's talk about this Friday night. You got a big game against Hueytown, first round of the playoffs. You're going to be the game of the week, where people can watch that on WOTM and NFHS. How are you feeling about this first game?
Well, they've got a great football team. They were in the finals last year. They've got the reigning Mr. Football. And it's going to be a great challenge. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm excited for our players to get to be the game of the week. They've really struggled through some tough years, and to have a year like this for our seniors and get an opportunity to play a team like Hueytown and be on television, that's exciting for our seniors. And hopefully we can give them a good game on Friday night, and it'll be something exciting to watch. Should be a really exciting game. We've got two really good offenses going against each other, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, good. Well, we're looking forward to watching, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing you in Jordan-Hare Stadium in several weeks.
That would be awesome.
I think it would be awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And when we come back, we'll be live across the hall in the coaches meeting here at the AHSAA Playoff Reveal Show.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
It's almost that time of year again. Well, we already know the outcome. Roll Tide.
No, not that game. I'm talking about scoring the Game of the Week special at Sunny King Ford. Right now, you can save $30 on any set of tires at the Quick Lane at Sunny King Ford. Just mention the Game of the Week special.
Only at Sunny King Ford. That's right, Sunny King Ford on the sunny side of the street, Anniston, Oxford. Now that's a catch.
Silicaga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Silicaga.
Uncle Marcus, will you tell us a story about King Boys again?
Sure. Well, it all started back in 2008.
2008?
We didn't have all the fancy toy equipment we do now, but we did have a service and a desire to help our customers. You see, kids, you must train your mind and your body to be able to help the people you call customer. When they call on us, it's showtime. Understand me. King Boys' mission is to help when people are in need. So what's our motto, children?
King Boys forever!
Get more this fall in Silicaga with the power of 3. Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan. The time to buy is now, with more value and selection.
Long before we became a new car dealer, we were a used car dealer, and we know used cars better than anyone. Sarah has hard-to-find inventory arriving daily from around the country, with over 1,200 pre-owned cars and trucks to choose from.
Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan of Silicaga, serving Alabama since 1981.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the AHSAA Playoff Reveal Show. We are live here in Montgomery on the campus of Auburn Montgomery, AUM, and right across the hall, all 208 coaches from teams that have made the high school playoffs this year are getting assembled for a meeting. It's a meeting that Director Alvin Briggs leads and others on his staff, where they go over all the rules for the playoff, how the system works. They have to, go through every matchup for the first round. The coaches have to agree on the location and the time of the game. It's a fascinating situation how this all plays out here in Montgomery. And we'll actually be joining that meeting live in just a minute. But here are just some fun facts about the playoffs. Like I said, 208 teams make the playoffs. They'll all be competing in the first round. The first round will be November 4th all over the state. So much excitement. I mean, it's just the perfect atmosphere here in the fall in the state of Alabama for our state playoffs. There are 4 rounds for classifications 1A through 6A, then 3 rounds in 7A because, of course, there are fewer schools in Class 7A. The top 4 finishers in each region are the ones that make it to the playoffs, and that is even a fascinating system because sometimes there are ties, and there's this whole system for tie breaks. Head-to-head matchups are determined based on their records. If that doesn't work, if those are still even, there's several different rounds that they go through, and possibly sometimes these things can be decided in a coin toss at the AHSAA offices. That didn't happen this year, but that is a possibility. Host teams for the first round, seeds 1 and 2 host seeds 3 and 4 respectively, so that's how those determinations are made. But then, like I said, it has to be agreed upon by all the coaches in the next room. And then the following rounds, the way that they decide the home teams, the team that has traveled more becomes the home team. And we're going to go right now and join the meeting in progress right across the hall.
2020 AHSAA football playing season. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Carl Stockton, Chancellor here at AUM, for allowing us to be on their campus. Erica Mass, the Director of Athletics, and Marie Harrington for opening up their doors for us and being a part of this. If you don't mind, let's give them a round of applause, please. And as I say that, we're in somebody else's house, so let's make sure that we clean up around ourselves when we get ready to leave here. There's plenty of trash cans in the back when we get ready to exit. Make sure that your area is clean. I would sure appreciate that. Just a few other house cleaning. If you did not go online and fill out your mileage, there's a QR code on the door that when it came in, you hit that and you can fill out your travel for your mileage, as was stated in the emails you got earlier the last couple of weeks. So make sure you do that. You will not get mileage if you don't fill out that QR code online. And only 1 per school. 1 per school. Just 1 person, not the 2 that came. Jimmy Perry, just 1. Secondly, I want to introduce our central board. We have 2 here. Coach Pam Holloway here to my right. Please give her an applause. And Coach Terry Curtis over here on the left side. Terry, if you stick your hand up in there, please. Terry also tied the winning record last night, 346. Let's give him another big round of applause, please. Next, I want to thank is with Vanda and Elaine step in here for a second, please. last night, these two ladies, along with Jeff and JT and David and Marvin and Ron and Ken, stayed last night to about 1 o'clock getting everything prepared for you guys. These ladies, especially these two ladies, y'all know them well. They love being here and they love you guys and they're excited about here. They were here early this morning even before you got here. So let's thank those ladies, please, and the rest of the staff. At this time, we're going to have a couple of people come up to you just to talk a little bit about Super 7. We know it's down the road, and Jeff will come up and talk about it a little later, but this is going to be the only in-person meeting until the last two meetings, to the fourth and fifth meeting. So the next two meetings will be virtual. So we want to make sure that you got some information ahead of time about Super 7. The first person that's going to come up will be Daniel Smith from Knight Eady. He's just going to hit a couple of things. So Daniel Smith this time.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations to each and every one of you for making it to the playoffs for the 2022 season. We are excited to be back in Auburn this year for our Super 7 football championships. We hope to see as many of you down there as we can this year. It's going to be a great experience. The last time we were in Auburn was 2019, and so we were in Birmingham last year, had a great time, had great weather. Hopefully we can bring that back to Auburn this year. 70, 75 degrees, all sunny skies. It was perfect. So, Anthony, hopefully you and your team can chalk that up for us. But one of the things that Jeff will kind of speak to a little bit later, but it's also in your packet, just want to make sure everybody's aware, there's Alpha is our presenting, or not presenting, but a corporate partner for us, and they sponsor a game of the week. And so there will be one game that's selected out of all the playoff games, and we will contact you, the coach or the athletic director, and make sure and communicate to you guys that, hey, you've been selected as the game of the week. There is a PA read in your packet there that you will be able to provide to your PA announcer, and they will just have to plug in the home team name, visiting team name, and then there will be a small presentation on the field prior to the game. But from you guys' standpoint, just making sure that you get that information to your PA announcer, and also communicate to your athletic director if your team has been selected for that game of the week. And so we want to continue to support Alpha there, and as they support us during Super 7 and the road to Super 7 as well. So again, my name is Daniel Smith. If you have any questions, I can get my information to you. It might be in the packet as well, but excited to have each of you guys here today, and excited to potentially see a lot of you guys down in Auburn.
As Daniel mentioned, Alpha is going to do the game of the week, and the way we've done that before, and we'll continue to do that, is that we will contact your administrator, because it's a pregame ceremony, and we'll try to make sure both administrator or the athletic director from the two schools will be there, so it won't bother anything you do. They'll do a pregame ceremony. It is a pregame read, so it's in that online packet. If you don't have your administrator here, make sure they go online and download that packet, as we'll talk about here later in a few minutes. Next, I'm going to have Anthony Turling from the Auburn Opelika Tourism to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Alvin. Congratulations to everybody that's here today, making it to the 2022 playoffs. Look forward to hosting you again. I was there in 18 and 19, met some of you from the 19 year. We representing the city of Auburn and city of Opelika with our partners. Excited. Couldn't do it without Auburn University. Of course, Auburn Athletics. We're going to give you a great experience. We've got volunteer parent host ready to make your trip there very easy, transitional. We've got hotels already set up. up with those parent hosts knowing that. So we look forward to meeting you at those last 2 weekends of those playoff meetings, and we'll make your transition from the last win to Auburn-Opelika very easy, and of course giving you all that Auburn experience. And as Daniel said, hopefully we'll have good weather, maybe not what Tuscaloosa dealt with a few years ago with that snow. So again, congrats, and look forward to hosting y'all when you make it.
Thank you, Anthony. Auburn and Tuscaloosa both do a great job with our Super 7. Look forward to it. And we've already had several pre-meetings for Super 7, so we're looking forward to that. Jack's is our sponsor of our breakfast, so please support Jack's. I want to talk about 3 gentlemen. Stevie Steele is Stevie and Steve. Stevie Steele has been doing this for 31 years. That's longer than I've been alive. So that tells you. Coach Taylor, why are you laughing? He's been doing it for 31 years. That's when we were downtown, and since we've been out on Taylor Road. His granddaughter's kind of outgrown him, and he's kind of upset because Haley usually with him. Now she's sprouted her wings, and he had to go adopt 2 guys that are older than him to be with him. And I want to recognize those 2 guys. Steve Shaker, where's Steve? Is he in here? Shocker, and Robbie Spurlock. Those 2 guys are 2 friends of Stevie. Stevie he believes in Alabama High School Athletic Association. He's at games every week, sending back to the local radio stations, y'all scores, and talking about the exciting things that happen in those games. So let's give Stevie a round of applause, please. I couldn't go any further without thanking the previous executive directors, Bubba Scott, Dan Washburn, and of course, Steve Savarese. Y'all know what they meant to the association and how much they love being at these meetings and how much they poured into it. They set the foundation that a lot of state associations want to revere and mirror what Alabama does in high school athletics. So let's give those 3 gentlemen a hand, please. At this time, we're going to have Ron Ingram come up and give us Ron's tidbits, just some little notes about what has happened throughout the year.
Glad to be here. Before I get started, we've got some great news, and I'm going to introduce Jack Williams. Jack Williams is with the Alabama Public Television Network, and we had a recent announcement. The Super 7 football games will be live on the Alabama Public Television Network, which means that it will be all across the state of Alabama thanks to their 97 transmitters, I do believe. But anyway, Mr. Williams.
9 transmitters, 27 microwave dishes, but guys, I'm so excited to be here. My dad was a high school principal, was my principal for 10 out of 12 years that I was in school. So I remember when Bubba Scott was running things and I was a little kid. And we're so excited to be a part of this because personally and as a network, we understand the importance of high school football. I know I was as athletic in high school as I look today, but coaches, even when my dad wasn't principal, took an interest in me, and we want to make sure the message of what you guys do penetrates the state of Alabama, and this will be the first time these games are broadcast statewide ever. So if you live, they've been available for streaming, but a lot of our state doesn't have broadband access. We're very, very excited to be a part of this. Like I said, I know the importance of this. I have a nephew who's 31, who's the manager of, he has some intellectual disabilities, and he's the manager of his high school team at Jasper. And I think you guys are here, and I appreciate what you do for my nephew Stephen. It makes a big difference in it enhances the quality of his life. And you guys do that not just at Jasper, but you do that in 400 16 other communities, and it's greatly appreciated, and we're excited for the opportunity to highlight this. So grandparents and your athletes and grandparents of band members or aunts and uncles that can't make the trip to Auburn or in future years won't be going to Tuscaloosa or Birmingham, because wherever we are, it's a long drive from somewhere, and folks are going to have an opportunity to witness what you guys have accomplished in ways that they've never been able to before. And Alvin, we're very excited about partnering with you and Ron and the rest of your team. And thank you guys for what you've done. Congratulations, Coach. Congratulations. You joined my coach from my community, Buddy Anderson. You're in High Cotton. So Buddy was a great coach in Vestavia. Thank you guys so much for allowing us to be a part of it. And congratulations on great seasons. When I was in, there was 4 classifications and 8 teams in each classification. And I was around some 2- and 3-loss teams that never sniffed the playoffs. So congratulations, enjoy the ride, and look forward to seeing you guys in Auburn. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Jack. My job now is to talk to you a little bit about some of the highlights. And, of course, this is kind of the Terry Curtis thing. We want to congratulate him because he did equal the all-time winningest coach's record of Buddy Anderson, 346 wins. He has a chance to break that record this season, next week. And if not, he'll get to wait till the next year. But another record, we've got 4 coaches coaching in this year. I don't think we've ever had it before. 4 coaches that have 300 wins that are coaching. We also have Coach Danny Horn with 339 wins at Central Clay County. Coach Jack French, who became the newest member of that club. A lot of his in Mississippi, 304 wins. And we have Coach Paul Benefield of Fife, who is also in the 300 club. And he's going to probably keep doing it because just in this decade, which is only 21, 22, they're 35-2. Wow. We have one school that's in that we know for certain that's in the playoffs for the first time. The Tuscaloosa Academy came over to our association, and congratulating them on reaching the Class 2A playoffs. Class 4A Booker T. Washington out of Tuskegee is making just their second playoff appearance. We also have defending champions here, Thompson in 7A, Clay Chalkville in 6A, Pike Road now in 6A was the 5A champion last year. Piedmont is back. Clark County is back. Sweetwater is back. By the way, those 2 coaches go to church together. Something about that preacher. And then Viger was the 4A champion last year. They moved to 5A, and they did not make it. The biggest thing, I think, the biggest note I think we need to make about this year's playoffs is that this is such a great opportunity for each of you. We had a lot of different things to happen last night that settled tiebreakers, but the biggest thing is everyone here has earned it, and they're ready to go, and we just want to thank you. Congratulations.
In the essence of time, we're going to talk about the online packet. You have a packet that you have, but from this point on, it'll be online, so make sure you download it and give it to all the appropriate people in your office. Right now, I want official observers. Jeff Seegers has come up here to the mic. He's going to speak a little bit, and Ron, you're going to be behind Jeff.
Good morning. Before I talk about the observer's report, if the principal, the AD, or the head coach didn't get emails from me through Dragonfly, something's wrong, okay? Y'all need to go through and check and make sure that your email address is correct. I had several people call this week and said I didn't get any information on the playoffs. All right, if you didn't get that the email last night at about 11:30 that I sent from my personal email account, something's wrong. That was off the information that somebody from your school submitted. Okay, so you should have gotten 3 separate emails with regards to this meeting. I want to speak about the observer's reporting form that visiting principals fill out. The easiest way to do that is for that visiting principal to shoot that QR code and fill it out on their phone. The visiting principal is just a fact finder. They are not looking to take corrective action. Okay? If they don't want to shoot the QR code and send it out, they can a couple different ways. They can fill it out, they can take a picture of it and email it to me or text it to me, or if they want to put it in the mail, they can. Okay? Easiest ways to do it online. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jeff. Ron, you want to come up and talk about the broadcast policy and as we go through that packet?
Thank you, Mr. Briggs. First, if your school is a part of the NFHS network and you have a Pixelite in your stadium, please put that game up online. Let them know. If you're having some problems with the Pixelite, please contact the NFHS network. They're committed to getting to you immediately if there's a problem. But please make sure that if your game is in if your stadium has a Pixelite camera and you're part of the network, put that game up on the NFHS network wall. If you're wanting to broadcast a road game, you need to go online to our website. If you're broadcasting an NFHS network game for your school, you need to go online and fill out the application, and then you'll have to. We'll give you an approval letter to show when you get there, because there's a lot of folks out there that want to live stream your games that are not part of the network. The network is a big money maker for all of you in here, and it's a big part of our program. The other schools can do a delayed broadcast, but they have to have a letter of permission, and it's a $500 fee that goes back to your schools. So do not let anyone do any kind of live streaming or delayed without a letter of permission, unless it's your local NFHS network. Radio is the same way. Anybody broadcasting your game over the radio has to go online and pay a fee, of which the money goes back to the two schools, and they will have a letter of permission from us telling them. If they show up at your pass gate without a letter of permission, my number or phone number is going to be on that pass gate list that you're getting in the packet, and you can call me and I can tell you if they've done what they're supposed to do. As far as credentials, in your packet you have some credentials for your school media. This is for your school media. It's not for your police chief. It's not for your mayor. This is for your school media. If someone wants to, if you have someone that's a school photographer, you should give them one of these credentials. If they send in and tell us they're your school photographer, we're going to send them right back to your principal. That's what we're going to do, because that's why we provide these for you. If you have someone at your games that's a media that's not following protocol, if they're in your box, if they're making a nuisance, have your security remove them if you need to. Find out who they are. If they have a permanent credential, their picture will be on it. Try to see who it is. Let us know. We will talk to whoever they're working for, and we'll make sure that if they ever come back to your place, they'll be well schooled and they won't do that again. If they don't, if they didn't have the proper credentials, then we can make sure they don't come back to another game. If you have any questions on credentials, though, if you have a broadcast program that has to have a few more than what you have in your packet, go online. They need to fill out the application online, and then we will look at each of those individually, and if necessary, we'll talk with your principal to make sure that it's okay. But any other questions on media, please let us know. They're there to promote our programs, and if they're not doing that, please let us know, because we will follow up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. As we go through that packet and you see all those different forms and those different sheets, make sure you're going through those with your principal when you get back. You have the broadcast form there. Also, you have that Ron's live streaming sheet there that's in there. You make sure that everybody understands your announcer is making those announcements about live streaming events. It's very important that we get the stat sheets back from the summary. Those are important. Those are national stats that we like to keep up with, so please get those stat sheets back in for us. There's also a game sportsmanship guideline that we would love for you to make sure that you're announcing, especially this day and time. It's important that we continue with great sportsmanship. That is coach-wide, players-wide, and fans-wide. So let's make sure that you get that sheet to the announcer so those can be announced as we going through this packet. The next sheet, we have acceptable passes. When we get to the game manager sheet, we're going to talk about it, but those are only passes that will be accepted. So make sure your people that are working the gate will understand and do that. At this time, we're going to have Jeff come up, and is GoFan here? Patrick here? We'll come up and talk about GoFan and the tickets.
As we have done in the past, and Patrick Knowles from GoFan is going to discuss it, all tickets for championship play are digital. Okay? Back in August, and Patrick will discuss this also, we made available, GoFan made available to all member schools the opportunity to get a card reader. All you had to do is go online and fill out a form, and GoFan would have sent you a card reader so that people could come up and use their debit or credit cards and not have to pay by phone. I hope you took advantage of that. Okay, I think Patrick's going to talk about that in just a second also. But I'd like to introduce Patrick Knowles from GoFan.
All right, thanks, Coach Briggs and Coach Seegers. Thank all you guys as well. Congrats for being here. There's 2 pages in the packet that talk about GoFan and how tickets work. At this point, I'm pretty sure about 90% of you guys use GoFan during the regular season, so I'm not going to waste much time on the front page. It's just instructions on how everything works. There's a couple of links on there as well. If you're not familiar with it, you can watch them. There are about 3 or 4 60-second quick videos that show you how to, buy tickets, share tickets, validate tickets, all the easy stuff that you'll need to know. All the tickets are going to be released by 1 o'clock on Saturday, so they'll just go up. Obviously, we don't have capacity restrictions anymore, so they're just going to be live. They will be on your GoFan page, home and away, and they'll also be on the AHSAA's GoFan page as well. So this week's games are already live, so feel free to start sharing that information whenever you guys would like to. Going down to the bottom of this page, on the first page, there's some contact information. So there's my number as well, but the quickest way if you guys need something throughout the week is to email the support@gofan.co email down at the bottom. I know every year and a lot of times.
And as the meeting continues across the hall, I now have with me Ron Ingram, Director of Communications for the Alabama High School Athletic Association. Ron, I think maybe a better title for you might be Encyclopedia of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, but we're pleased to have you. Thanks for being with us.
I turned 70, so I have a lot of stuff stored in. It doesn't always come unstored out. But
well,
it's been a great labor of love, I'm telling you. It's been fun.
Absolutely. Well, we are now going to go through the brackets one by one and talk about the first round of the playoffs. And Ron, I want you to stop me as we go through and tell us things we might need to know about these brackets in each game. First of all, we'll start with Class 1A. The first game will be Region 3 Qualifier 4 R.C. Hatch at Region 4 Qualifier 1 Maplesville.
Just to get started, R.C. Hatch is probably best known for their basketball program. Their basketball program has won, I think, 13 state championships.
Okay, fantastic.
But they're playing Maplesville, which was the winningest team in the state from about 2005 to 2015.
Great. And then Georgiana at Leroy.
Georgiana Leroy. Leroy is dropping from 2A to 1A. They've been a strong program. Okay,
Otagoville at Linden.
Otagoville at Linden. Linden, everybody says at the state championship, if you're going to win it from 1A in the South, it goes through Linden sooner or later.
Choctaw County at Brantley.
Choctaw County at Brantley. I believe it's Southern Choctaw at Brantley. Mm-hmm. Southern Choctaw at Brantley. Brantley is an incredible program. It's been one of the most consistent.
Okay, all right. And then we've got Verbena at Sweetwater.
Verbena has the task of course, I believe it's Elba at Choctaw County. Elba is undefeated. Choctaw County is the team that came so close last night they qualified through tiebreaker in, and it came very close to a coin toss. But they're in, and they play Elba. I think they were ranked number 1 in the state by the Alabama Sports Writers Association at the end of the season, undefeated. And then at the bottom of that,
Sweetwater and Verbena.
Yeah, Sweetwater's defending state champion, and Verbena out of Chilton County. This is the best team they've had in many, many years.
Well, that's fantastic. Let's keep moving through. All right, Millery and Florala.
Millery and Florala, I think both of those teams are up-and-coming teams. Millery won its region in Region 1, in Class 1A, and it's really been very, very strong. And then, of course, Florala has it's in probably the toughest 1A region overall because of the fact that that Brantley is in it, and so is Elba. But that's going to be a really good first-round game.
Okay, Lochapoka and Keith.
Lochapoka and Keith. Everybody loves to say Lochapoka. They are a really strong team. They play very, very well. Keith is an up-and-coming team right outside of Selma. Both of those teams. That's potentially going to be a really outstanding game too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Meek and Cedar Bluff.
Boy, Meek this season has not been Meek. They have really had a great season this year, and they've beat a lot of all-comers at different classifications, and I think they've got a really good chance of coming out and making it all the way to the finals, and we'll just have to see because it's tough on both sides. Cedar Bluff is just one of those traditional teams that you hate to have to play in the first round.
Pickens County Wadley.
Pickens County has been into the state finals probably 4 or 5 times in the last 10 years. Wadley has been there once. That's a pretty tough matchup too between two really outstanding teams.
All right, Valley Head at Phillips.
Valley Head at Phillips of Bear Creek, another really good game. Valley Head has struggled at times, but this year they've really come on and had a great season. They have a running back that had a stretch this year in 2 games, 7 carries for 227 yards, I believe it was, and 6 touchdowns over 2 games. He scored every time he touched it.
Unbelievable. Spring Garden and South Lamar.
Okay, I believe there's a Raglan Marion.
Yep, you're right.
I'm looking down.
Yeah.
Another good game, another outstanding game, and then of course we go to Spring Garden and South Lamar. Spring Garden drops down from 2A to 1A. They won their region in a tiebreaker. Very, very, very good football team. That ought to be an outstanding game.
Okay, I want y'all to know that Ron's doing this without a single note, so it's pretty impressive. I got a stack of papers here, and I still can't get it right, but Ron's rolling us through. All right, let's keep going.
And the last one, I believe, was Coosa Christian at Hackleburg. Just another outstanding game. Coosa Christian has scored a lot of points this year, and Hackleburg is one of those traditional teams that you really hate to play.
Okay, well, let's then go to Lynn and Donahoe.
Okay, Lynn and Donahoe. Lynn has had the best season they've had in probably 15 or 20 years. Donahoe has been really good. On the other side of the bracket is Addison. Addison is just, it goes all the way back to Snake Eye Hicks.
I remember that name from my granddaddy.
Well, your granddad loved him because he put him on the pass gate at the basketball tournament. As a man you could trust.
Well, how can you forget the name Snake Eye?
I know the teams that
Only in Alabama.
The teams that played against him didn't forget it because he was a great coach in our Hall of Fame.
Good.
And Addison's got a great program. They'll be hosting Appalachian, and Appalachian has a really good program this year too. That's going to be a really outstanding game too.
Yeah, okay, well I think that wraps it up for 1A. Well, let's move on to 2A. First one I've got is B.B. Comer and Lynette.
B.B. Comer and Lynette is going to be one of the 2 games this week that the WOTM TV is going to showcase. This one will be shown on a delayed basis, what I understand. B.B. Comer really started making a run last year and got much, much better with Coach Gossett. Lynette has been the power team in 2A with Coach Story. He's got 2 sons at Alabama, I believe, and it's a pretty incredible program at Lynette. That's going to be a really good first-round game.
Yeah, and I think we get to interview those coaches hopefully in a little while.
I think so. That's a really good game. Right.
Okay, let's move on to J.U. Blackshear versus Wicksburg.
J.U. Blackshear from Uriah. I love to say that.
That's right.
Uriah. If you don't know where it is, it's not far from Monroeville. Or, as they say, Monroeville's not far from Uriah. They're playing Wicksburg, who dropped from 3A to 2A. Both of those teams have had some great moments this season. I think that'll be a good game as well.
All right, Reeltown and Thorsby.
Reeltown's the real deal. They always are, but Reeltown's the real deal. They had a tremendous run this year. They gave Highland Home their first loss not too long ago to win the region. They're going to be playing a Thorsby team that may be the best Thorsby team with located in Chilton County. That's one of the best teams they've had in years.
Okay.
That's a potential. I wish I could be at all these games, and you can if you watch the NFHS network.
You sure can. I know. We're thankful for that. All right, GW Long versus St. Luke's.
GW Long Rebels, they're always good. They're always good. Their program is better known for its baseball program. They've won so many baseball championships, I think we can't even put them in the program. But St. Luke's is a strong team coming out of Mobile. That's going to be a really good match, too.
Okay, we got Ayrton and Chickasaw.
Ayrton was the region champion, and I think Region 2, and they'll be taking on Chickasaw at Ayrton. That's down in Dale County, not far from Ozark. They're the Purple Cats, and they've been really consistently good, winning 10 games or more for the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay, Highland Home and Isabella.
We mentioned Highland Home. My goodness, Highland Home may have the best football player in Class 2A, and his brother may be better. This is a very, very good football team that some say may go all the way, but they have a really tough opener with Isabella because Isabella is a team that can score a lot of points, and they have a really good team.
Okay, Clark County and Cottonwood.
Clark County's defending state champs, Coach Stacy Luker, who went into our Hall of Fame this past March. He's the head coach there. He played for Coach Nolan Atkins at Sweetwater, who's in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame coach, no doubt. Cottonwood made a great run back in the 80s when they won baseball and football championships, I think 2 or 3 years. Very good team with Coach Jim McCain, but this team is really just beginning to get back to that kind of program Cottonwood had back then. I'm excited about seeing what they can do, but they got a tough opener.
Unbelievable. Vincent versus Luverne.
Vincent and Luverne. Vincent has had a really great season. They're averaging about 46, 47 points a game. Luverne is just Luverne, very consistent. That's the school that Glenn Daniel, our first 300-game winner, was at. Mr. Scott Love coached Daniel, and if you went to a Crampton Bowl, you'd see Coach Daniel on a Thursday night with a notepad, watching the game, taking notes, but he was not going to play either one of them. He was just trying to learn. Wow. That's why he was a 300-game winner.
Is that how you learned everything that you know?
Well, I sat beside him a lot of nights down there, and I was trying to watch the game, and he was taking notes, and I was more interested in him.
I think so.
But a wonderful man, a wonderful hero, and he was a war hero in World War II. Just amazing man.
All right, Lexington and North Sand Mountain.
Lexington is a very good team. North Sand Mountain is from Higdon, which is not far from Chattanooga. Lexington is not far from Tennessee. That's a good cross across the top. That's going to be a good North Alabama game.
All right, Tuscaloosa Academy, Locust Fork.
Tuscaloosa Academy is brand new to our association this year.
Good.
And they're making the playoffs for the first time, and that's a big deal. Locust Fork in Blount County has been really, really strong for about the last 3 or 4 years, and this team, the record may not show it, but they play a tough team. They play a lot of tough teams. I think that's going to be another really potentially better, great game to watch.
Good. Fife and Red Bay.
Fife, my goodness. 35-2 in this decade. And that's only 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Wow.
He's already averaging over 10 wins this season, and he hasn't finished this season yet. Red Bay's got their hands full there, no doubt about it. Anyone that plays Fife has their hands full.
All right, Cleveland and Winston County.
Cleveland and Winston County, both of those teams. Cleveland was in the finals last year. They had a quarterback who accounted for almost 70 touchdowns last year. He graduated. But they've come back and been not as strong as last year, but very, very good. Winston County has had the best program they've had in years. I think that's Addison's big rival, by the way.
Right.
And I think that's going to be another one of those two teams may be a surprise.
Okay, all right. Southeastern and Lamar County.
Southeastern is kind of the newest team in Blount County to be in, and they were a middle school for a good while. Okay. Became a high school, and they've been steadily getting better and better. And this year they won their region, and they're pretty strong. Lamar County, they've just got a lot of tradition.
Okay, all right. Hatton and Pisgah.
Pisgah had a big win last night. They beat North Jackson, a 4A school. They're better noted for their girls basketball and their girls softball, because they've had 2 girls that have been the national home run champions in the NFHS. They hold the records 1 and 2. And both of them went on to great college careers, but Pisgah's football program is pretty strong too. The Eagles have got to play Hatton. Hatton's got a lot of tradition. This is one of the better teams. They like their chances too.
All right, let's move on to Aliceville versus West End.
Oh, you're looking at Aliceville, you're looking at so many great athletes. They are they're sitting over right at the edge of Mississippi, and they're in Pickens County. We just mentioned Pickens County High School. They've got great athletes, and that's going to be a really interesting game. West End's got their hands full, but this West End team has really shown some great improvement.
Okay, Falkville, Collinsville.
Falkville has been a really good program in 1A and 2A. They had a big win this past week. I think they're going to be fine. Collinsville dropped from 3A to 2A, and they're traditionally a strong team.
Okay, Dadeville, South Selma.
Okay, I believe we moved into 3A now.
Yes,
right.
We did. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I should have paused and remind everybody, Ron's still not using any notes. notes.
Well, who do we say?
All right, we're going to do Dadeville, Southside Selma as our first matchup.
Dadeville is undefeated for the first time in several years. They've got a really fine team, and Southside of Selma graduated a guy that set our state record last year for the most touchdowns in a season, passing and rushing and receiving. Wow. Born in Chris Thomas, who played point guard and went all the way to the Final Four. They've got an awesome team. I saw them play twice this year on the network, and they've got an awesome team offensively. This could be a high-scoring game.
All right, Thomasville, Strawn.
Thomasville is just one of those traditional teams that's always there, and they're very strong again this year. Strawn, very similar. They've had a really strong team in a 9-team area. It's been a very difficult one to get out of, and they were one of the top 3 teams in it.
Okay, St. James, Walter Wellborn.
St. James is really good. St. James is really good, but Calhoun County teams are really good.
Right.
And that's a scary game for St. James because the Walter Wellborn tends to play well on the road. So, but that potentially could be a great one to watch if you can be there or tune in on the NFHS network.
Sure. W.S. Neal.
Bobcats. They're a fine team.
Yeah.
They really got it going. They finished second in the region. W.S. Neal dropped from 4A to 3A, and they've had their best program in a long time. So they're sitting there looking good. That's going to be a good game.
Okay, Houston Academy, Mobile Christian.
Houston Academy won the region. They went undefeated, and they beat my alma mater, Pike County, 21-20 last night.
Oh, wow.
They're really good, but they've got a tough first-round opener due to a situation earlier. Mobile Christian had to forfeit a few games. They are a really strong team at 4C, so that's going to be one of the better games.
All right, Trinity Presbyterian and Sachs.
Trinity Presbyterian is we've seen them play. I've seen them play in person this year. They've got a lot of talent. They're well coached. They're going to be hard to beat. Sachs is another one of those Calhoun County teams that's really good on the road. So that's a game that neither team can take lightly.
Okay, XL Pike County.
Oh, man, yeah, I have to pull out my purple jersey here. Pike County was 0-9 last year.
Wow.
They've lost 3 games in the region this year by 1 point. They've got a brand-new coach, Mark Hurt, who went on to Alabama State, was a great quarterback. He was the defensive coordinator at Central Phoenix City. He came back. That program is back in gear. They are going to be they're playing a great brand of football. Like I said, Houston Academy beat them 21-20. But now XL, they're very similar, too. That's where Leroy Jordan went to school. Remember old Leroy that played with the Alabama and Dallas Cowboys? He's not playing in this game.
Right.
But XL this is one of the best teams they've had probably in the last 15 years.
All right, Randolph County, Alabama Christian.
Randolph County struggled sort of like Pike County last year in 2A, but they moved to 3A this year and jumped up. I believe they're going to be 7-3.
Wow.
And a really strong team. Alabama Christian, the best team they've had in years. Another great game.
Great. Mars Hill Bible, Danville.
Mars Hill Bible's been in 3 straight state championships. They've been in a 1A, 2 and 2A, and they moved to 3A this year. Danville, Andrew Williams moved up there, who's been a very successful coach. Used to be at Linden. This is the best Danville team they've had in years. They've got a tough opener.
Okay, Winfield, Geraldine.
Winfield, boy, a team named Winfield ought to win, wouldn't you think? You have to mention Winfield because Trey Cunningham, who graduated there, was the second fastest hurdler in the world this year, and he won the NCAA championships from Winfield, Alabama. Wow. We're so proud of their track program. That track program helps their football program be very strong, and the Pirates are very strong.
Okay.
Geraldine, my mama's name was Geraldine, and I have to pull for them whenever I see it because you can't pull against your mama.
Right.
But Geraldine has another great team. They ended 51 game winning streak last year in the regular season. So they're very good too.
Madison Academy and Phil Campbell.
Madison Academy, their school moved from 4A back to 3A. They've had a really good season, and Phil Campbell's had a really good season. Both of those have to battle each other in baseball almost every year.
Wow. Sylvania, Fayette County.
Sylvania, very good team again. They're up there in DeKalb County, another one of those strong teams that have to play with against the Fifes of the world and the Plainviews. Fayette County now, They've got a new coach. He's done a fantastic job. This Fayette County team is looking like the Fayette County teams of old.
Okay, all right. Defending champs in 3A, Piedmont versus Oakman.
You have to watch Piedmont play. They won that state championship last year by being down 30. They were down 29-6 at the half. And they win 35-33, and the only points they gave up in the second half were 2 safeties that they intentionally had just to keep from having a punt block. Great coaching. I was wondering, what is he doing? He was winning the game. Coach Steve Smith is outstanding. They are back strong. They've been a game of the week once with WOTM. And they came from behind in that one, and they ended up losing an undefeated Anderson 30-28. Oakman has been a good program. They've got their hands full.
Wow. J.B. Pennington, Colbert County.
J.B. Pennington and Colbert County. That's a good game. Both of those teams have been kind of up and down. Colbert County had a big win last night over Lamar County, I believe it was. Over Sullivan, excuse me. But that's going to be a good game.
All right. Gordo, Ohatchee.
Oh, man. Gordo comes from 4A to 3A, and they are powerful. Gordo is a strong football team. Ohatchee started off very slow, but they came on very strong in the last half of the season. They're playing is probably as good a football in Calhoun County as any school right now. That could be a tougher game than people might think.
All right, Lauderdale County, Vinemont.
Lauderdale County, they came out of Northwest Alabama. They're real strong traditionally. Vinemont, that's going to be a game. I'd call that a toss-up.
Okay, all right. Well, that wraps up 3A. So you ready to move on to 4A?
I guess so.
You still don't need any notes, huh?
Well, if you don't.
I need a lot of notes, but this is all coming from his head. All right, let's start with Sipsey Valley and Anniston.
Oh, you mentioned Anniston. Anniston, this may be the best Anniston team they've had since they won the state championship back in the late 90s, early 90s, I mean. This is a strong Anniston team. Sipsey Valley, they moved up to 4A. They're still getting better. They've got a tough opener, but they've played really good football. So that could be a little closer than some people might think. But Anniston, a lot of people are picking Anniston to maybe make it all the way to the finals, but they got to beat Sipsey Valley to do it.
That's right. All right, Orange Beach, Booker T. Washington.
Orange Beach, we've got Coach Jamie Dubose down there now, a real familiar name to our Super 7 who coached at Prattville and had won several championships. Orange Beach moved from 2A to 4A this season, from 2A classification all the way to 4A. And they have really played well. Good. It's been really good. And they're playing another team, Booker T. Washington of Tuskegee, just the second time they've ever made it to the playoffs. But this team has been strong all year. Booker T. Washington could be the surprise team if they can get by an Orange Beach team that's coached by Jamie Dubose.
That's right. All right, American Christian, Mumford.
American Christian, really steady, really positive, really strong this year. Mumford, very strong. Those two teams are probably very much alike.
Okay. Andalusia, Jackson.
Andalusia went from 5A to 4A. Their only loss is to Montgomery Catholic in a really strong game that day. They're playing Jackson. Jackson is a team that lost to Orange County, to Orange Beach early in the year, and it kind of threw them off a little bit, but they rebounded, and now they're playing like the Jackson teams of old, which is always one that makes the semis, quarters or semis at least.
Okay, all right. Well, you mentioned Montgomery Catholic. They're next versus Bayside Academy.
Montgomery Catholic thought the championship was theirs to win last year, and rightfully so. They scored almost over 50 points a game last year and gave up only 67, I believe, for the season. But they got beat in the semifinals by Montgomery Academy, 10-7, in an incredible game. And they have been on a mission all year. They are averaging almost 60 points a game. If they don't derail themselves just by forgetting about who they're playing, then they've got a chance to go a long way. I don't think that'll happen because they've been really focused this year. Bayside Academy is a scary first-round opener for them, though, because they're a really good team. And so I expect that first game there, that's going to be a lot of points scored right there.
Okay, Bibb County, Jacksonville.
Bibb County is very solid every year. They are probably one of the best defensive teams in 4A. Jacksonville has got a pretty potent offense. That's going to be an interesting game. I understand Jacksonville's got some brand new equipment for the NFHS network, and they're driving to Bibb County, which is not in the network, and they're going to be able to live stream that game over the network this week too.
That's great.
So that's going to be good. But that's going to be a really good game, I think. Bibb County, they're the only Choctaws in the state. We have a Choctaw County, but their nicknames are Choctaws. I've always loved that.
Love it. All right, T.R. Miller, Montgomery Academy.
T.R. Miller of Bruton, they moved from 3A to 4A and have not missed a beat. They are just really good. They're undefeated. they're just solid all the way around, and they're always the team to beat when they're in the playoffs. One of the teams to beat. Montgomery Academy in the state finals last year. They graduated a lot of people, and Coach Johnson's done a really good job of getting that team to be playing as well as they can right now, similar to what he did last year. So you can't count them out.
That's right. Hanley, West Blockton.
Hanley is really, really good. A really solid team. Coach Larry Strain does a great job coaching them. West Blockton has been one of the most consistent defensive teams in 4A all year. I like this one to be, if it's a low-scoring game, West Blockton has a real good chance. If it gets to be a wild-scoring game, Hanley's got a running back that had almost 500 yards in one game this year.
My goodness. All right, Priceville, Central Florence.
Priceville has a running back that's averaged about 25, 28 carries a game. And if he can get that kind of numbers, they've had a good chance of winning. In fact, I think they're undefeated. Central Florence won a game 70-69 this year. So we can expect probably a lot of points there. Priceville should have the edge, but when Central is good, they're really good.
Okay, next we move on to one of my favorites, Aniana at Haleyville. So they'll play that game in the Bubba. That's what they call their stadium.
I know it now. Your granddad, that's where he carved his coaching teeth.
That's right.
Haleyville, and they still love him up there. Haleyville has got a tough first rounder. Haleyville's got a really good team, and they've been solid all year. They're playing a really good team that's been solid all year. Aniana has a running back that they didn't play this week, but last week, Fluff Bothwell had 436 yards rushing.
Wow.
So I got a feeling I know what the game plan is going to be for both.
Yeah, there's no fluff there.
There's no fluff there.
All right, Deschler, Madison County.
Deschler is one of those teams that is always around the championships. And Madison County has been in 5A and 4A. They're back in 4A now. They've been solid. Deschler's been really, really good. Deschler, this could be a really good game if Deschler doesn't play up to their potential.
Okay, Etowah, Northside.
Etowah has had one of the best seasons they've had in years. Northside's been very strong for 2 or 3 years. This could be one of the best games in the first round.
Cherokee County Corner.
Cherokee County. They ended up winning the region last night in a tiebreaker with Etowah and Aniana. They are really, really strong. Corners had the best team they've had in many, many years. This one potentially could be a great game, particularly if it can be high scoring.
Okay, West Morgan, Westminster Christian.
West Morgan has been, they struggled for several years, and now they're back playing the kind of football West Morgan used to play, and they're really playing well. They're playing a team, Westminster Christian, that can score points. I told you Central won a game 70-69. The team they beat was Westminster, who scored 69.
There you go.
So if you can score 69 and lose, that tells you something. But they're averaging almost 50 points a game. If this is a high-scoring game, it's whoever gets the ball last.
That's right. All right, Dora Good Hope.
Dora and Good Hope. Dora's another team that has been really strong and then dipped a little, and this year they moved way back up to near the top, playing strong football every week. And Good Hope is just solid. They play in a tough region. It's just solid. They're in that same region with Aniana and Cherokee County and Etowah that tied for the lead. That's going to be a good game.
Okay, and then to round out 4A, we've got Randolph and Rogers.
Randolph got beat by Priceville in the last game of the region play in Region 8. They're really strong. Rogers got in the playoffs last night through a tiebreaker, and they beat a strong Lexington team to get there convincingly. So that's Randolph High School. It's not Randolph County, Randolph High School. They have a really outstanding quarterback as well, who's averaging about 320 yards a game passing. If Rogers can keep the football, they've got a chance. That'll be a fun one to watch if you're from either place.
Okay, well, let's move on to 5A, and we'll start with Central Clay County versus Holtville.
You notice we're not finding anything wrong with any of these schools, mainly because there's nothing wrong with them. They're all playing at a point to where every one of these teams are 0-0 now.
That's right.
And the winners that come out of this are going to continue to advance, and they got to go 5-0 if you're in 1A through 6A,
That's right.
and 4-0 if you're in 7A.
Yeah.
That's all they've got to do the rest of the year. So there's always surprises. So if we say they could be surprising, they may very well be that surprise team this year because there always is somebody.
That's right, because everybody's got a blank slate right now.
Right. Now, Central Clay County, if you have any historian of the state of Alabama in high school football, you remember Clay County High School in Lineville. The very first year we played the Super Six at Legion Field.
That's right.
Both of them are in Clay County. The north and south line was drawn right between them, and Lineville met Clay County in the finals, and Clay County won. That was the start of the state's all-time 55-game winning streak. That was really the end of the first season of it. And so Clay County won 55 straight games. Later on in 2011, they merged into one school. And now Lineville and Clay County are central of Clay County.
Okay.
And that is a school that did it right. They merged two great rivals into a strong program, and they've been strong ever since. They've already won one state title together. Hopeville is playing a great brand of football. They struggled a little bit mid-season, but they got it back toward the end. The Central Clay County is one of those teams that can be surprising.
Okay, Gulf Shores and Carroll.
Gulf Shores has been really, really good this year. They've been getting better and better. Carroll of Ozark is a pretty solid team. They have to go to Gulf Shores. Gulf Shores has got a strong running attack. If Carroll can keep the football, they can keep it close. They got a good chance.
Okay, Demopolis and Elmore County.
Demopolis is the school of consistency in West Alabama.
That's good.
Year in and year out, 7 to 10 wins every year, and this is another one of those teams. Elmore County didn't win a game last year.
Wow.
And they brought in a brand new young coach. He's a Caldwell from Dadeville, knows how to coach. And they won their first 5 games, I believe, and they've really been playing good football, and they are excited. It's the most excitement they've had since Coach Terry Burt was there coaching championships back in the 80s and 90s.
Wow. Okay, Eufaula and Faith Academy.
Eufaula, real solid. They go from 6A to 5A. They're going to be one of those teams that has a chance. They're good enough to beat anybody they play. And Faith Academy, very similar, good enough to beat anybody they play. They're both really good, I think, contenders to get to Auburn.
Okay, Williamson and Charles Henderson.
Williamson, best defensive team year in and year out in South Alabama in the Mobile area. Offensively, they don't score a lot of points. Defensively, they don't give up a lot of points. Last night, they gave UMS Wright all they could handle in that game. Charles Henderson won one game last year, and this year they have turned it totally around and won the region. That's going to be a very interesting game right there. I think Charles Henderson will see if they're ready to make that step into the playoffs like they did into the season. And Williamson is going to. I got a feeling this. If it's a low-scoring game, Williamson's going to be right there to the end.
All right, Selma and Tallahassee.
Selma's been very consistent the last 2 or 3 years. They dropped from 6A to 5A, and it's been a good fit. Tallahassee has went from 4A to 5A. That's been a good fit. That's going to be a good first-round game there.
Okay, let's see what's next. We got UMS Wright and Headland.
We mentioned UMS Wright a little earlier with Coach Terry Curtis. They've probably been the best school around. They've only lost, I think, 92 games in his coaching career. Not all of them. I mean, he's only lost 92, but not all of them were at UMS Wright. This year they're undefeated. They're playing a Headland team that has struggled for years. This is the best team Headland's had in a long, long time.
Okay, let's see. How about Beauregard and Marbury?
Beauregard has been real consistent. Marbury has been up and down. This Marbury team has really come on late. Beauregard has been really consistent. They were in the state finals probably in the last 4 years.
Okay, continuing on with 5A, Russellville and Boaz.
Russellville is a strong program year in and year out. Their record won't show it because they played a tough. I think they're 6-4. Boaz, very similar. They play a really tough schedule, a lot of rivals. That's going to be an interesting first round.
Okay, Pleasant Grove, Alexandria.
I think they met last year during the playoffs. Okay. Pleasant Grove has been in the state finals 3 straight years. Alexandria has been around the state finals every year if they didn't win it. That's going to be either one of those teams potentially has a chance to go all the way.
Okay, Arab East Limestone.
Arab, first time I think they've ever won the region championship.
Really?
Arab, and they are really excited. They've been really good, but they've been really excited this year. East Limestone, they are a team that has been pretty consistent too, but Arab, both of them we'll just have to see how they can take the next four or 5 weeks.
That's right. Okay, Moody and Jasper.
Moody's team has scored a lot of points, most probably in school history, and they do it every week against everybody. Jasper has been a really good, solid team. If they can hold Moody to under 30, they got a good chance.
Okay. All right, Leeds and Fairfield.
Leeds, well, what can we say about Leeds? You mentioned Leeds in the last 15 years, and you're talking about playoffs and state championships. Fairfield won their last 3 games to get in. They're playing the best football they've played all year.
Okay. All right, Scottsboro and Brewer.
Scottsboro and Brewer. Scottsboro has been up and down a little bit, but they have really caught fire the last half of the season. And Brewer, this is their best football team they've had in years.
All right, Ramsey, Southside, Gadsden.
Ramsey, boy, when they put football back, they went after it with a zeal, and they're doing really, really well. They'll be at home. That game, I don't know if they've announced it yet, but it may be at Legion Field. I'm not sure.
Oh, wow, okay.
They play a lot of their home games at Legion Field if it's available. Southside of Gadsden has been a really solid team. They went in 6A, and now they dropped to 5A, and they're very solid again. It's a tough opener for Ramsey.
Okay, Fairview, Gunnersville.
Fairview was 1 win away last year from reaching the state finals. Gunnersville, the year before, was about the same way. Both of those teams know how to play in the playoffs. One of those teams might emerge and maybe the surprise team in the North.
Okay, well, that wraps up 5A. You ready for 6A?
I hope so.
You're not losing steam. Again, no notes. He just knows all of this. It's incredible. Let's start with Hillcrest Tuscaloosa versus Calera.
Hillcrest Tuscaloosa is a tough team to beat. They've been in the semifinals 2 or 3 times. They've been in the finals, I think, once. Calera was a surprise team this year. They were a 2A, 3A school, and then the explosion of the growth down there, and now they're 6A.
Wow.
And they got in really in the last region game. They got in because they won the games they were supposed to, and it kind of surprised them a little bit, surprised everybody. But now they're not surprising anymore. They're ready to go, and they got a tough opener, but that's a good team.
All right, Saraland, Wetumpka.
Wetumpka's got to go all the way to Saraland. Wetumpka's got a new coach. He's doing a really good job. Saraland is a strong team. That would potentially could be one of the best games.
Oh, wow. Okay. Homewood, McAdory.
Homewood and McAdory. McAdory has been one of the better defensive teams year in and year out. This Homewood team is the best they've had in years, and Homewood's at home.
All right. Pike Road and Spanish Fort.
We mentioned Pike Road was the state champion last year in Class 5A, and just their 4th season, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And now they got a tough job though. They're going to have to take on Spanish Fort in Class 6A, but they will be at home. That's another one of those that either one of those, I wouldn't be surprised if either one of those teams didn't make it all the way.
Okay, great. All right, Carver, Montgomery, St. Paul's, Episcopal.
Carver of Montgomery is really playing well. Their quarterback may be as good as anybody's in the Southeast, and they've been very consistent all year long. They have great following. St. Paul's has kind of been a little up and down, but they're playing a good brand of football, and they're always hard to beat. So that's another potential good game. That'll be at the Crampton Bowl.
Okay, good. All right, Pelham versus Northridge.
Pelham is a good, solid team. Northridge is a good, solid team. One of those teams, whichever one comes out, is going to be a hard team to beat. Neither one of those teams will go down easy.
Okay, Theodore, Sidney, Lanier.
Theodore, everyone in Mobile says if you want to talk about the best team down here, they think it may be Theodore.
Okay.
Theodore won the region. They've got a tough opener with Sidney Lanier, though. Sidney Lanier's got some great talent. If Theodore can get past the first round game, they might could go all the way. But Sidney Lanier, they just play. No matter what the other team has, they go out and give it all they got. That's a tough first round opener for Theodore.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Hueytown versus Benjamin Russell.
It's going to be the WOTM
Game of the Week.
Alabama TV Network Game of the Week.
Yeah.
Hueytown was in the finals last year. They helped bring the largest crowd we've had in a long time to Protective Stadium. Benjamin Russell in Alexander City, they love their football. I think that's going to be a stadium packed to the hilt for a great football game. Either one of those teams have potential as the sky's the limit.
Okay, Gadsden City versus Coleman.
Gadsden City went from 7A to 6A this year, lost their first 4 games, and since then they have just been on just playing lights out. I like their chances of really emerging if they can get by Coleman. Coleman's been one of those teams that nobody wants to play in the playoffs because they're capable of beating anybody, and this is a good team.
Okay, Mountain Brook versus Pinson Valley.
Mountain Brook has got a phenomenal team. They've lost 2 games, and I don't know how. Pinson Valley has been a team that's been around the state championships for the last 4 years. This is another tough opener for 2 great programs.
All right, Hartselle versus Buckhorn.
Hartselle, really solid this year. They've been a very solid team all the way around. Buckhorn has struggled at times, but they're playing good football. But Hartselle's got a team that they think might have a chance to get to Jordan-Hare Stadium.
All right, Center Point versus Jackson Olin.
You know, the mystery team of all, and it's not a real mystery, but Center Point has come out of the woodwork, so to speak, and has been playing gangbusters.
Yeah.
They are playing such a good brand of football. If they can continue that, then they could go all the way.
Yeah.
The problem they have is Jackson Olin is not impressed because they played Center Point often, and they match up with Center Point very, very well.
Okay.
That potentially could be. I wish I could be at all these games.
Right.
But either one of those teams could go a long way. But that's a tough opener for Center Point because of the fact that Jackson Olin knows all about it.
That's right.
You know.
Well, that'll be interesting to watch. All right, Clay Chalkville versus Parker.
Clay Chalkville's defending state champs, and they have been playing like it. They've been such a good football team this year. They're going to Parker though, and anytime you got to go against Parker and the Thunder and Herd's Purple Pride, it's a tough place to win a football game. Clay's got the work cut out for them.
Yeah.
Parker's got their work cut out for them too. Either way, either team that comes out of that is going to probably go a long way.
Okay, Muscle Shoals, Hazel Green.
Muscle Shoals has been really good this year. They're really good every year, but this team seems to be a little better than the teams that they have in the past. Sometimes they've been beaten early on. If they can get to the second or third round, I think Muscle Shoals is one of those teams we're going to have to keep a good eye on.
Okay.
Hazel Green has a tough first round opener, but they know that they got a chance that they can go in and win it. So that's going to be another game that we're going to have to wait and see.
All right, Gardendale and Oxford.
I've not seen Gardendale play, but I saw them on the network Thursday night. Gardendale is really good. From what everybody that says that they play them, said they're really good. Their quarterback is an awesome player. He can score from anywhere and in a lot of different ways. Oxford is one of those programs that's just there's trophies all around it.
Right.
They're just a strong program. This is a key game for both of those. They may not play anybody any better after the first round. And either one of these teams could emerge.
All right, last one for 6A. We've got Fort Payne and Decatur.
Fort Payne, really, really solid. One thing I love about Fort Payne, if you want to know where kicking is best, they have a great soccer program.
Okay.
But they've got 2 kickers. One's at Auburn, one's in the NFL. Both of them broke all kinds of records kicking field goals. And I'm telling you, both of them's gone, but one kicked a 61-yarder, and the younger brother was a 60-yarder for the record. The younger brother was holding, and when he was a senior, he kicked a 61-yarder.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
But now Fort Payne has a really good football program. They're good in the kicking game, obviously. Decatur, really solid. This program had struggled for 3 or 4 years, or 2 or 3 years, but they're right back to where Decatur is always at now. So that's going to be a really good game.
Okay, well, that wraps up 6A. Let's move on to the 7A powerhouse schools. Now, fewer rounds in this.
You're right. There's 16 less schools because the 7A only has 32 schools in it, which is basically half the size of the other classes.
That's right. So a little bit different here, but same setup and everything. So let's start with Foley and Dothan.
Foley was a team that has really struggled. They've been a great program. They've really struggled. But this year, they just came on. Coach Scott has done an incredible job there. They won the region. The first time they've won the region in 7A. Dothan High School, since Northview and Dothan merged, that's been a real challenge for them. And this Dothan team is really, really playing well, too. That's going to be a tough first-round opener for both schools.
All right, Auburn and Fairhope.
Auburn, wow. We saw them in the kickoff classic at the beginning of the season, and they were awesome then. They're still awesome now. Fairhope has been a great program from start to finish. they're capable. Most every one of their games have been close. They're capable of pulling a game out from anywhere.
Okay, let's move on to Central Phoenix City and Mary Montgomery.
Central Phoenix City is Central Phoenix City. I mean, they're whoever wins the state championship, if it's not Central's got to go through Central somewhere along the way.
That's right.
Mary Montgomery, best team maybe they've ever had.
Wow.
They've been playing really good football for the last 8 or 9 weeks. That's a scary game for Central. But Central is a scary game for Mary Montgomery too, because the tradition's all here. Mary Montgomery doesn't quite have that kind of tradition in the playoffs, but they're playing like they're going to get it, you know, and that's going to be a fun game to watch.
That's right. Baker and Enterprise.
Baker, another one of those teams that's been really, really good. Enterprise has been a great program forever. Coach Ben Blackman is back there coaching at Enterprise now. He's building them back to that kind of same kind of status. That's another one of those first-round games that you really want to see, because both teams, if both teams show up at their A game, it's going to be great.
Okay, we're in the final stretch here. How about Hoover versus Bob Jones?
Hoover, you mentioned Hoover. They've won 104 playoff games, more than anybody else. So Bob Jones is they're coached by Kelvis White. His dad, Lewis White, won 4 state championships in a row with Kelvis and his brother LaRon on the team. They know how to coach too. Bob Jones has got potential to beat anybody, but I'm telling you, Hoover is a tough out in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Florence Hewitt Trustful.
Florence, best team Florence has had since probably Mr. Briggs was there. They're one of the best teams.
Right.
Florence has got a really good, solid team. They've been solid all year. Hewitt Trustville is solid. They both are solid. Whichever one brings their A game the best will win that one. That's going to be a good game.
Okay. All right. My alma mater, Vestavia Hills, headed to Austin.
Well, Vestavia Hills has a new coach, but he's an old face. Rob Evans was one of the best players. He was a star of that 1998 state championship team.
Yeah.
And he actually knocked away the last play, if I'm not mistaken, as a defensive back. And it was unbelievable. They won 10-7 over Vigry.
Yeah.
You were there,
I
right?
was there.
Were you in pigtails then?
Probably. Yeah, let's just go with that.
Okay. Bobby Socks.
That's right.
Okay. But Vestavia Hills is in the playoffs. It's a tough to get into the playoffs in Region 3 and Class 7A is very difficult, and they're back in for the first time in a few years being out. And Austin, they're coached by an old Thompson boy, Jeremy Perkins. Austin's been the team of consistency in Region 4. That's an interesting game. Which team plays the best is going to win it, but they're both very, very good.
Okay, final one. We got defending state champion Thompson and playing Huntsville.
Yeah, Thompson lost the first 2 games of the season, but those 2 teams they lost to have probably beaten everybody else they played. This Thompson team has had to really put some new faces out on the field. Their quarterbacks in the last 3 years have gone on to play major college, and it's been pretty impressive. Thompson's the toughest out probably right now in 7A football. Huntsville has a really good football team. If they show up and play, it could be something.
Okay, well, Ron, this has been a marathon. We made it.
We did.
we made it to the finish line. I want everybody to just look here at all the papers and computers that I have on my side of the table and see that Ron has nothing. I mean, he does this absolutely with just no notes. It's incredible. I think you're going to be my phone a friend if I ever go on a game show.
But if I had to do everything you do every day in your job, I would probably be lost. So.
Well, Ron, we thank you so much. I mean, you're a wealth of information, and it's really made it interesting to talk about these matchups.
Well, it's so much fun. I love this time of year. I love every sport. I love this time of year. It's just so exciting.
Sure
but
is.
let me tell you something. Our football teams, they've got a tough act to follow. We just finished the volleyball state championships.
Absolutely.
And Bayside Academy upped their national record of volleyball championships to 21 in a row without one senior on the team. And they moved from 5A to 6A. Now, they've won championships in 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, and 6A. And all of our volleyball play was incredible. Our football teams will do the same. And I think by the time we get to Auburn, it's going to be something.
It's going to be so exciting. Well, thank you again so much, Ron, for running through that with us. I mean, adding so much color so that we know what's going on in all these games. But we will be right back after this on the AHSAA Playoff Reveal Show.
Retirement planning, investment planning, education planning, ad valorem, blah, 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 blah. Financial planners love to show their version of a perfect retirement, but what about your perfect retirement? At AM First Financial, we'll get to know you first, so we can make a plan for the person you'll be years from now. And future you will be glad we planned ahead. So call AM First Financial today. You'll thank you later.
Silicaga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Sylacauga.
I need the King Boys.
Don't call two clowns in a tow truck when you're dreaming of them King Boys.
Get more this fall in Sylacauga with the power of 3. Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan. The time to buy is now, with more value and selection.
Long before we became a new car dealer, we were a used car dealer, and we know used cars better than anyone. Sarah has hard-to-find inventory arriving daily from around the country, with over 1,200 pre-owned cars and trucks to choose from.
Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Honda, and Sarah Nissan of Sylacauga, serving Alabama since 1981.
He said he'd already talked to Jason.
Retirement planning, investment planning, education planning, ad valorem, blah, 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 blah. Financial planners love to show their version of a perfect retirement, but what about your perfect retirement? At AM First Financial, we'll get to know you first, so we can make a plan for the person you'll be years from now. And future you will be glad we planned ahead. So call AM First Financial today. You'll thank you later.
Silicaga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Sylacauga.
I need the King Boys.
Don't call two clowns in a tow truck when you're dreaming of them King Boys.
All right, we are thrilled to have with us BB Comer head football coach Adam Fawcett. Welcome, Coach Fawcett.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys having me.
Well, congratulations, first of all, on making it to the playoffs. You have quite a story to tell, which we're going to get to. I read an article. When you came to BB Comer, you had 13 players on your football team, and you've built it up to where, obviously, huge accomplishments. Tell us about your current team.
Currently, we dress roughly 40 kids.
Wow.
Now we dress 8 through 12. Sitting at 8-2, first region championship in 27 years. So this group has, every group that's come through has kind of laid some groundwork and done some things that have been special. Last year was the first group that made it to the third round since '95. And then this group is the first group to win a region championship since '95. So each group has collectively kept building the program up and doing some things to help the program.
Well, obviously starting from 13 to now having a large team that's been successful, you've really changed the culture there. And the article I read said that the student athletes have really bought into what you're doing there, that you've got a winning mindset, you're goal-oriented, and you're compassionate. So how does that kind of play into everything that you do?
Man, I tell everybody this, the biggest key is that you got to want to be there, and we want to be there. My wife and kids are there, so that's a huge thing for me. My family is huge. She teaches 10th and 12th grade English, so she knows all the kids, and she's she's able to give me some insight on grades, not grades, but how they're doing in class and things like that. So we build those relationships. I remember the very first meeting we had with all the athletes. I told them, I said, this isn't going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Right. And that's the key is we had to go in and change everybody's mindset. I'm also the athletic director, so we put an emphasis on all sports. And we got our female athletes in the weight room. They hadn't been in the weight room. We got our male athletes in the weight room and serious about what they were doing. And then we were able to have a little bit of success. So, I enjoy the fruits of the labor and seeing the kids be successful. And that is important to me in building the guys up and building all our athletes up. One day all this is over. One day you're not going to wear the cleats anymore. You're going to put all the equipment up, and you've got to go be a man and a woman and a husband and a wife and a mother and a father, and that's important to me in building these kids.
Well, that's what it's all about. I understand also that you like to be an underdog.
Yeah, I enjoy the underdog role a little bit. I like being able to have the upset role. Going back to 5 years ago, we were 5 different homecomings. And if you counted our own homecoming, we played 6 homecoming games.
Wow.
The first year in which we were 2-8. And I've explained to our guys we're not the underdogs anymore. So it's kind of we're trying to get used to a different role now, where the target's on our back. So, but as we move forward, obviously looking forward to postseason and looking forward to what's next for us.
Well, do you feel like in your game against Lynette on Friday night, are you the underdog?
I don't know that we're the underdog. I think you look at the records at 8-2 and 5-5, and if you go just by record, you're going to say, hey, they're the favorite team. But you have to look at Lynette. You have to look at Coach Story and how he's built a program and the things that he's done and the state championships that he's won and things like that. You have to look at the region that they're in. Very tough region with Highland Hall, Reeltown, and Laverne, and he played all those teams very, very close. So he's going to have those guys ready, and they'll be ready to go. And it's kind of interesting when the matchups were made. I called him and I said, "Man, we finally got out of the region with you, and I have to draw you the first round of the playoffs." So him and I have a great relationship, though. Great guy, and looking forward to a good game. But it's I think it'll be a very good ball game.
Good. Well,
we've got to show up and play.
You do, and what's great about the playoffs, everybody starts on an even playing field.
No doubt. No doubt.
Well, good luck to your team and you this Friday night as you play them, and hopefully you'll continue on, and we'll see you in Auburn in several weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Well, we are so thrilled to be joined right now with Coach Clifford Story from Lynette High School, state championship coach. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, you obviously are here because you've made the state playoffs. You've got a big game this week. It's the game of the week. Tell me a little bit about your team this year. What makes them special?
Well, first of all, is we finally developed some leadership. We're very young, but the older guys have beginning to bring the young guys along. We had some ups and downs in the beginning. We were just making a lot of youthful mistakes. And in the past few weeks, we've cleaned some of those things up, and now they finally understanding how all of it comes together like a puzzle. So we've been doing great the last few weeks.
Very good. Well, I read an article about you, and it talked about when you've been there for 14. Have you been there for 14 years?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Well, so you've had a really long run there already. But that when you first came, that you were coming to the school that Coach Dan Washburn used to coach, former head of the AHSAA.
Correct.
And you actually, I believe, did you break one of his records?
I did.
His winning record. Okay,
I did.
Fantastic. So you had some big shoes to fill. But in the article I read, you had a couple of quotes that when you arrived, that you had a vision and a plan, and that you wanted to impact kids' lives. So tell me a little bit about just kind of your coaching philosophy and how football can play into impacting kids' lives.
Well, with kids, they being pulled in so many different directions. And so my vision was to bring them in and to teach them structure, discipline, and pride. When I got there, I had a chance to look around the program, and I just had a chance to see some things that I want to implement there, some things that I pulled from Coach Tim Carter, Coach Robert Maddox, Coach Robert Hackney, those guys that I coached under. And so I took some of those things and implemented in with these guys. And moving forward, I just always talk about what I call the AAA experience, which was attitude, being attentive, and also to was attitude, attentive. I don't remember the third
those
one,
are
but
important.
yeah, it was
Attitude and incentive.
those was just some things that I started to put together, and the kids began to realize how important it was to try to do it right every time.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, that's huge. Well, and then besides just coaching, and let's talk about your family, because you've got a coaching family. Had the opportunity to interview your wife, who's the volleyball coach there at Lynette, and so tell us a little bit about just. Obviously, you're a sports family. Your kids are athletes. So tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, they just grew up around the game. People always ask me, what did I do so different with my kids? I just brought them to practice. They was there when I did laundry. Actually, the coach, they would get in the way of the coach's drill. I had to move them out of the way. We just kept them around the game. And my wife, she played basketball at AUM here. And then, I played football and baseball at Jacksonville State. And it just started from there. And so we want to figure out how to get us all involved, because you know how it is as a wife. They be up in the stands and they hear a lot of negativity, and I didn't want her to be amongst that. So we came up with a plan for her to be called an Aqua Mom. She down on there on Friday night. She provide water and towels for the kids, and she's also there for support-wise. When I had to get on for something, she always just put the arm around them, give them that mama feeling. But it just all evolved, just being around it and growing up in it. And we just been real blessed. We've had three boys to go to school and been free. So that's really been a blessing.
That is fantastic. I like that Aqua Mom. I may try to use that myself. Yeah. All right. Well, Coach Clifford's story from Lynette, thank you so much, and good luck this Friday night in your big game. But then, of course, hopefully you'll continue on, and we'll see you in Jordan here for the Super 7.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Right.
I hope we can be there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are joined now by Coach Terry Curtis from UMS Wright. Welcome, Coach Curtis.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Well,
means you're in the playoffs.
That's right. That's right. We are here. We're here at AUM for the coaches meeting. All the coaches who've made the playoffs. So just being here is a huge accomplishment. But obviously, I know you want more.
Well, yeah. The first meeting's fun. You get to see everybody, but they'll get serious again. And you play now and you advance. If you lose, you're done. So
that's right.
There's no more
do or die
next week.
That's right. Well, tell me, what is special about your team this year that's now made it to the playoffs?
Well, just their tenacity and how hard they play, and I'm not sure if we're as athletic as some of the other teams, but we make up with it. They're smart and they're good football players, and they play hard. So their resilience has been really special this year.
Well, obviously, you've got a really special team and some great players, and sometimes coaches don't want to make it about themselves, but I've got something important to talk to you about, and it's the fact that you have just recently tied the AHSAA record for winningest coach, held by my high school coach, Buddy Anderson, also my Sunday school teacher, so he's a special man to me.
I tell you now, he's a special guy.
He is.
I traded texts with him Thursday, and just to be mentioned in the same with that guy is unbelievable. I think he was at Vestavia for 44 years or something like that. And, I think 34 is a long time to be a head coach. I couldn't imagine it being at the same place. But it's quite an honor, and it really hadn't sunk in yet, and I'm sure it will later on, but it's special for a lot of people. All the assistant coaches, former players, current players, administrators, your family.
Right.
It's very humbling and very gratifying.
So you're now tied. Obviously, your next game that could be the one that puts you over the top. How do you feel about it?
Well, you're in the playoffs.
That's
Everybody's
right.
good. So
right.
Everybody's starting 0-0. So we'll go to work tomorrow and get ready for Headland and see what happens.
Well, congratulations on this accomplishment, and then hopefully that next win you'll get, and maybe you'll keep on going. We'll hopefully see you in Auburn at Jordan-Hare Stadium for the Super 7.
Oh man, War Eagle.
War Eagle, I'll give you that too. All right, Coach Terry Curtis from UMS Wright. Thanks for being with us.
Homewood by percentage. Region 4, place 4, McAdoo by percentage. Homewood, you're the home team.
Homewood 8-2 Friday night, 7 o'clock, Walter Stadium, 5-2.
Region 2, place 2, Pike Road by tiebreaker 8. Region 1, place 3, Spanish 4 by percentage. Pike Road, you're the home team.
Pike Road 6-4 Friday night, 7 o'clock, 7 officials. Spanish 4, 7.
Region 2 plays 1, Carver, Montgomery.
And as
City.
we continue
Region
to
1
watch the
plays
meeting
4.
going on across the hall as Coach Alvin Briggs speaks to all the coaches who have made it to the first round of the playoffs. The meeting will continue on. We are live here at AUM in Montgomery, Alabama. And as they continue, we're going to take this time to wrap up the show. Like we told you before, these meetings will continue every week, some virtual, some in person. Of course, the number of coaches gets cut in half every week, but this is such an exciting time in the state of Alabama. The Alabama High School Athletic Association's state playoffs that ultimately culminate in the Super 7 in Auburn and Jordan-Hare Stadium. We thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that you will tune in again next time. This has been the AHSAA Playoff Reveal Show.